Let's turn to the Gulf states now, specifically to Saudi Arabia. They invested a lot in Donald Trump's presidency, whether it's funding his son-in-law's business company or building Trump properties in Riyadh or pumping in billions of dollars into the US economy. All of this was done with a clear aim, to have significant influence over the US president. That was missing with Trump's predecessor. Joe Biden promised to turn Saudi Arabia into a pariah state. He also cut off military sales to the kingdom. So with Trump back in the White House, Riyadh saw an opportunity. But looks like Trump has other ideas. Over the weekend, he took a swipe at the Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman. Listen to what he said.
A short time ago, a man that we just discussed, the king, the future king of Saudi Arabia, and I also love the king of Saudi Arabia, what a man he is when I was there, we bonded. And he looked at me and he said, you know, it's amazing. 1 year ago, you were a dead country. Now you're the hottest country anywhere in the world. He didn't think this was going to happen. He didn't think he'd be kissing. He really didn't. He thought he'd be just another American president that was a loser.
I'm sure the Saudi Crown Prince wasn't thrilled by that. But what exactly is Trump talking about? Possibly the war in West Asia. Multiple reports say MBS wants to continue the war in West Asia. He's asking Trump, in fact, to keep bombing the regime. Why? Because he wants to permanently remove the Iranian threat. He wants the regime and its missiles to be destroyed. But here's a question. Why hasn't Saudi Arabia joined the war? Iran has fired dozens of ballistic missiles at the kingdom. They've launched nearly 500 suicide drones. So why hasn't Riyadh hit back? Forget hitting back. They won't even allow the US to use their airspace or bases. Why? Because of the risk. Saudi Arabia has a lot to lose in this war. Around 70% of their drinking water comes from desalination plants. If those plants are hit, entire cities could be crippled. Same with their economy. Oil makes up 40% of the Saudi GDP. If oil refineries are hit, it could take years to rebuild. So MBS wants to insulate his country from the fighting. He wants to protect his strategic sites. At the same time, he wants the Iranian regime to be toppled. So do you see the problem there? MBS has a clear objective in this war, but he's not actually fighting it. And if you're not fighting the war, you have no control over how it ends. This may explain why MBS is wooing Trump. But what if Trump ignores him? What if he wraps up the fighting and pursues talks? Riyadh is wary of that as well. They are leading a diplomatic push at the Gulf Cooperation Council. The Gulf states want to be involved in the talks.
We emphasize the necessity of involving the GCC countries in any talks or agreements to resolve this crisis in a way that contributes to strengthening their security and stability and ensures that such attacks are not repeated.
That's the backup plan. Riyadh will want concrete security guarantees, basically insurance against any future attacks. Of course, that alone isn't enough. For a long time, these Gulf countries depended on the US security shield. They hosted American soldiers in American bases. Their thinking was quite clear. The American presence would deter attacks on their soil. But in the last few years, that belief has been shattered. Last year, Israel launched airstrikes on Doha. This year, Iran has hit locations across the Gulf. So clearly, the US presence wasn't enough. So what will they do now? Chances are Riyadh will bet on diversification. Last year, they signed a mutual defense pact with Pakistan. It was described as a NATO-like deal. Some reports said Pakistan would even share its nuclear arsenal. Then last week, Riyadh hosted the Ukrainian president. They signed a defense agreement with Kyiv. As you know, Ukraine has significant battlefield experience. So the kingdom is seeking their help, especially against Iran's suicide drones. And now MBS will be even more worried because his rivals to the south have also joined the war. I'm talking about the Houthis. Saudi Arabia and Yemen share a 1,300-kilometer border. Plus, the Houthis have attacked Saudi oil facilities before. This puts the kingdom at even more risk. The question is, how will MBS respond to it? By doubling down on his calls to continue the war, or by backing covert diplomatic efforts?
Want the facts?
The latest developments?
News that gets straight to the point.
Well, we've got all three just for you. This is Firstpost Live, a brand new show, your window into what really matters.
Don't miss it.